Welcome back. Welcome back. Today I want to tell you all about the 2024 iPad Pro M4 edition that I've recently received. Now, I'm going to start off telling you about some of the basic specs, and then I'm going to tell you, why I chose to upgrade, what I use it for, and all that jazz. So let's get into it. We're going to look just simply at the iPad itself. Let me take it off the mount. This is the iPad. As you can see, it is very thin. And we do have the specs already on the screen here. This is for, on your left is going to be this iPad, and on our right is my previous version iPad. Now, I am going to try to hold this as best I can. It is very large. It is the 13-inch model, but this has Ultra Retina XDR display versus the 5th gen, which has Retina display. I really just want to tell you about the stuff that this has that the 5th gen didn't. It has ProMotion technology, True Tone, anti-reflective coating, that's a tongue twister, say it 3 times fast. Nano texture display glass option, I did not get that, it was like an extra $100. I was just like, do I really need it? It's got the M4 chip versus the 5th gen's A9 chip. It's got 10 cores CPU and 10 core GPU and 16 core neural engine. I did end up going with the 1 terabyte, seeing as the 512 that I was going to get only had 9 cores of CPU. I figured why not bump it up a little bit. I get the storage I need, I get everything I want, and I also don't lose anything. Now, this has a 12 MP wide camera for the back, 4K resolution, and ProRes. And for the front-facing camera, it has a landscape 12 MP ultra-wide front camera. I'm sure we'll see it in the future. I really do want to try a video fully centered around the iPad and a video fully centered around my new phone. It also has center stage and true depth. Now this is the big thing. We're finally in the generation of Type-C. We are no longer in the lightning cable, which kind of means most of my stuff is not useless because I do still have technology that uses it, but I only have 3 that require the lightning cable over the Type-C. Now this does have Face ID, it has 4 speakers, and I do want to take some time to talk about that, but we're going to breeze through this really quick and then get into all of my notes on it. There's a special pencil for this. It comes with the Magic Keyboard, which I did in fact get. It's a little pricey, but I decided, you know what, if I'm gonna get this standalone, even though it's basically the perfect companion, just not the perfect standalone, then I will go and get something that I can take with me, which we'll get to. Up to 10 hours of surfing. Alright, this seems to be all of the important stuff, but we're gonna go to my notes now, and I'm gonna get into the absolute nittiest and grittiest part of all of this. A little bit of tapping. So, I am now going to show you the Magic Keyboard attachment. And here it is. Here is the iPad along with my notes and the Magic Keyboard, which is backlit, which is huge. Now, why did I buy this? I needed an upgrade. I have the iPad 5th gen like I just showed you. there was a huge difference between an iPad 5th gen, I was going to say OG iPad 5th gen, versus an iPad Pro M4 in 2024. Technology has come a long way since I bought that thing. I needed a dedicated work device. Now, this is kind of the perfect thing for me as a writer and someone who's always on the go. I really needed something that I could take with me that was portable, that was easy to just pack up and go. And this is it. And it's also fairly lightweight. I'd say the iPad itself is maybe 3 pounds. The Magic Keyboard is probably somewhere around 5 to 6 pounds. Add it all together and it's not too heavy at all. And honestly, when it's folded down into itself, it is much, much better. And all of the weight is concentrated in one spot. So I needed a keyboard, and basically I just wanted to hit home the portability. I do a lot of background work where I live in the film and television industry, and I do a lot of acting in the film and television industry, so I am always going to sets. I could be away from my computer for days at a time, really not even having the chance to log in, because background can go 12 hours and acting could be an all-day thing. It could go 12 hours. If it's SAG, then it isn't going to go over 14, so that's good. And finally, let me set this down real quick. I needed a video editing software. Now, those of you who have seen some of my videos, I've always used Adobe Premiere Pro. And I don't have access to that anymore. I graduated college right around 2023, somewhere in there. If you ask me, I graduated in May. If you ask my school, I graduated in August. Whole story there for another day. So, the video editing software, Adobe Premiere or Adobe Creative Suite, I'm not a professional. I don't get paid to edit. I don't get paid to do social media. I get paid to act. I get paid to be background. I get paid to write. But so far, social media is not me getting paid. And $660 for a year of Adobe because I'm not a student anymore is crazy. I always had to really convince myself that the $200 version was worth it. And now it's 3 times as much. So I needed a dedicated new software that I could use. And on my computer, I've started to learn DaVinci Resolve 18. And on my iPad, I am learning Final Cut Pro, which if you've seen some of my collection videos, which were posted soon before this video, those were all done with Final Cut Pro. And this will probably have a pretty good mixture of DaVinci, Audacity, and Final Cut Pro, just depending on the mics you're hearing out of, the editing if I have to do it on the go, and depending on I guess I won't be using DaVinci now that I'm thinking about it, but the rest of it's true. I was going to say, I do use OBS to record sometimes, and then I need to put it into DaVinci so I can have the different tracks, and then I can put it onto Final Cut Pro. So that is that part of it. It was a work thing. I needed a new editing software that I had to learn. It was lucky that I found programs like Final Cut and DaVinci and the Affinity Suite, which is kind of like a Photoshop-esque, which those collection videos I was talking about, that's where those thumbnails came from. And I will say, something in my notes that just stuck out to me is the rendering on the iPad is not fast at all. Basically, it's going to be a minute of rendering per basically minute of footage. Now, that's not a end-all be-all, that's how it is. That is basically my experience, especially from the 8-hour Avatar Lego building video that rendered for about 6 to 8 hours, and then I messed up the render and I had to do another 6 to 8 hours. But it is a very solid device overall, considering iPads, when I first bought my first one, did not have CPU and GPU cores like this. I'm sure if we tested it, the iPad 5th generation would take like 6 days, maybe 12, to render an 8-hour video like that. The battery life is just absolutely fantastic. The battery life, for what I've seen, if you're not rendering, if you're rendering, your battery life is going to go fairly fast, so make sure it's plugged in. The battery life is great. I will be writing notes all day. I'll be on and off the iPad. I'll be writing stories. I'll be writing scripts. And this thing does not die. I remember when I first got it, it was at about 96%. In about 3 days after I got it, I realized, I was like, I haven't charged this. And it's like at 50%. Now, I'm not on it all day, every day. I'm not watching movies. I'm sure that's more taxing. Writing is simple. Surfing is simple. However, for what I use it for, perfect battery life. And another thing, multitasking. I love the multitasking feature that comes with the iPad Pro. I was writing a spoiler alert if you're listening here and you're a fan of NHL videos. I was writing my NHL 2016 redraft video, and it was just so nice to have the NHL statistics and players on one side and my notes on the other side, so I could do the redraft, because there's tons of players that I was looking at, and I was like, who should go here and who should go here? And somewhere around like pick 12, I was starting to get like, this player could go here, or they could go like 3 spots below because these other 3 players are awesome. And I had, since I was able to have a window on my left and a window on my right side, I was able to easily check the stats, check the position, check everything, and it was an absolute breeze because of the multitasking. Portability and storage. Storage, there's 4 options. There's the 256 gigs, 512 gigs, 1 terabyte, and 2 terabytes. Now, the 256 and the 512 will have 9 CPU cores, and to me it was worth getting the upgraded terabyte version, because I was just like, I don't want to miss out on something when I'm already spending so much money, because the price was not cheap. I believe the iPads started at $1,000, and I am a college student fresh out of college. So technically, I'm a freelance roamer trying to make my way in one of the most competitive fields in the entire world. Starting at $1,000. But this one, the 1 terabyte's probably going to run you up to $14.99. If you wanted the Nano class, it was going to be another $100. If you wanted a case on top of the Magic Keyboard, it was going to be an extra $100. The Magic Keyboard was an extra $329. So the price adds up quick, as it usually does with Apple products. But I mean, hey, I've enjoyed my time with it. I've enjoyed time with my new phone, and you're watching on my new phone, so it's worth it. For me, at least. I'm not here to sell you anything. There won't be a link in the description with an affiliate link. I'm just here to tell you all about my experiences with the iPad. Google Drive. Google Drive is one of the most underrated things that I could have possibly imagined needing on this iPad, because I'm dealing with heavy file sizes when it comes to, the 8-hour Avatar video, I think was roughly 70 gigabytes. And if you know Google Drive, you get about 15 gigabytes for free. I had to upgrade it to the 200 because I was just sending so much footage back and forth and back and forth that it was just like, it has been an absolute savior to have that on the iPad. And I know that's not the iPad thing. I've got it on my phone, I've got it on old phones, I've got it on my old iPad, I've got it on my computer. But it's all that ease of it being able to have it on a phone, an iPad, a computer, that makes it so fantastic. Now, speed and computer replacement. I want to save the idea of movie and sound for last. So, this thing is incredibly quick dealing with speed. I feel zero latency. With my 5th generation, it just kind of felt like everything was starting to kind of get groggy. It was kind of starting to drag. It wasn't lagging per se, it's just everything felt like it took a little longer than something like my phone or my computer, which was getting upgraded a lot more frequently. Because frankly, I do use my phone and my computer a lot more than I do my iPad. At least until the new one. The new one I've been getting on practically every day. There's been a couple days where I was just like, I would like to relax today, so I don't even take the iPad with me when I go out and about. The overall computer replacement, you're wondering, is it a computer replacement? No, it is not. If you're going to buy a computer and you want something very expensive like I got, I think mine came to closer to 3,000 than 2,000, let's just put it that way. So if you went out and got like a MacBook Pro, and there's going to be a new line with the M4 chips later in 2024, I believe. I'm not 100% on that, but I'm pretty sure. And those are what I would say this iPad is the perfect companion to. It is something that can easily connect. If you get the MacBook Pro, and I know I'm talking in thousands and thousands of dollars here, so if you're just here to enjoy the video, then it's just in one ear out the other. But it is cool. Technology is super interesting. We're advancing so fast in the technology, in the amount of space it takes. I mean, think about it. This iPad is 5 millimeters thick. Do you remember what it used to take for 1 gigabyte? It used to take a whole room. I get it, that's like 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, somewhere in there. I'm not exactly sure the exact date, but we've gone from an entire room for a gig into a terabyte just in less than 100 years, let's put it that way. So I enjoy following technology for reasons like that. Alright, I do want to talk about the sound in the movies last, before I just give you my overall opinion with a nice little bow wrapped up on the video. The movies, and the screen, and the sound are freaking amazing. I love Avatar 2. It's no secret at this point. There's been several videos on here. It's appeared in my 3D movies. It's appeared in my regular movies. I think it's appeared in Lego form. I've done all 5 of the Lego sets for the Way of Water. So the very first thing I tried, because I knew this had the dual panel LED thing, the Ultra Retina display, which basically means there's 2 panels that they basically put together, and it makes the darks more dark and the lights more light, or something like that. I'm clearly not an expert. It's been a little bit since I've looked into the reason that's so cool, but I can tell you from a personal experience, I was watching Avatar: The Way of Water because I knew it's a beautiful movie. And on the iPad M4, it is magnificent. It genuinely felt like I was watching it in the movie theaters again. Granted, it's not like the big screen that you'd see. I'm not 60 feet away from the 200-foot screen. I'm 2 feet away from the 13-inch screen. but the blues were just so blue. It's so weird to say. If you understand what I'm saying, you definitely understand why I'm excited about this. Just the colors were so vibrant. I don't know if that was the 4K. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's just because Avatar is a beautiful movie, but it looked amazing. And the sound, because of the 4 speakers, really makes you feel like you're immersed, especially when you're closer to the device. I'm sure if it was, 12 feet away from me, it would just feel like, 4 channels all kind of converge into one point at a certain point. But when you're close to them, and I'd say I was about 2 to 3 feet away, it genuinely gave me that theater feeling of just sound all around me. And that is it. I want to tell you my overall thoughts. It is a magnificent device, perfect companion for something like the MacBook Pro, which I don't have one. So you know that I'm not just recommending this because I have it. I am recommending it because it's something I've realized. The iPad, the new iPhone 15, they can both connect to, the MacBooks, the iPad Airs, the MacBook Airs, and you can do so many cool things with them all together as a unit, as a conglomerate. It is amazing what they're doing with technology. But that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.